In this part of the program, we will focus on some advanced charts available with Microsoft Excel. But first, we need to understand that any chart is totally dependent on the way how you organize your data and summarize it. There is no one chart that can fit all types of data structure. It's just that we need to select or identify the right one that can help us explain the overall story of our data. First, let us start with this data that we have in front of us. We have some data for 10 years, historical data, wherein there were certain sales estimates made for respective years, and then we have some actual data. Now, going by these numbers, we can simply have a bar chart as well as a line chart. Let us try some. First, we have some column chart as well as bar chart. We can try either of those. The only difference between the column chart and the bar chart would be the layout. One is arranged horizontally while the other one is arranged vertically. Now, the moment I select this set, I see that there is some inconsistency here. What are these blue bars? These blue bars are years. Now, years was not something that I needed as a part of my data set, but here I still have them. So I need to tweak this, so I need to rectify this. So first I click on the chart, I go to select data. Now here for years, I click on year, and we can see that the horizontal axis, that's the x-axis, has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 as the labels. But instead we want the year values. So I click on this, click edit, and select the axis labels. I'll select 2011 to 20, click OK. And here we have this. Next, for the rest of them, we can see that consistency here. So that's absolutely fine there. Click OK. But what about these blue bars? Well, you can just click on the blue bars, any of the blue bar, and press delete on the keyboard, and it's gone. Here you have this. Or data which is properly organized, and this does make a lot of sense over here. Well, in case you do not want to give any chart title, we can just remove that, click on it and delete. But just in case if you realize that you need to give a chart title, you can anytime come back and click on this plus here, and you have this option here, chart title. You can check and uncheck this. Well, if you don't want the legend, you can uncheck this as well. But it would really be difficult to make any sense out of this data without a legend. So let's have this here. And there is another option called trend line. So if I click on this, it asks, add a trend line based on what kind of series? Sales estimate or sales actuals? I would say estimate. Click OK, and we can see the trend line over here. Now this is a new feature that's been added, and with every version, Excel has been constantly revamping and improvising the tools and features available for each of its charts. For now, I'll just uncheck the trend line here. But let me tell you, when I click on this trend line and get this line over here, in a way, this is a form of combination chart wherein we can see the trend over here. But let us also get some combination chart done with this. Now, this data can be represented in this format, that is a column chart, which is absolutely fine. But let's say you do not want a column chart, but instead you want a line chart. How do you do that? Let's say I can either start afresh with this set of data over here again by selecting the data, insert charts, and this time select line chart, or I can save some time. I can just click on this, copy, click aside, and paste. Now I have the same chart replicated over here, and now I want this to look like a line chart, so I might just click here. We have chart design. The moment you click on chart, you have two new menu options here, chart design and format. I'll click on chart design and change chart type. Here I can select the line chart, and the first one is selected. Here you get a preview of what exactly the chart would be looking like, and this is appropriate. Let's click OK. And here we have this set of two lines. That's it. We can see how the gray line is the actual data and the orange is the one with sales estimated data. So there were times when our actuals did cross or surpass the estimates, but then again it came down and there was a wider gap here, which means there were some issues with making appropriate estimations, or there were certain factors that influenced the actual sales with which they failed to meet or be anywhere closer to the estimated numbers. But as we see further, they are very much close to the estimated numbers with mild variance. And this is an actual acceptable variance, although this may not be acceptable. This kind of trend is something which you might notice during the initial few years of most startups. Now, let me show you another variant of the same in the form of a combo chart. Let's try this again. This time I'll again select the data for you and go to insert. Well, I can just copy this chart, paste it down, and also use change chart types, but I can also try this out. And here amongst the major groups of charts, here we have this combo chart. Insert combo chart, I select this. Well, the year is something I don't need. I need to remove that. At times, if you see any unwanted columns over there or unwanted bars, you can just remove that. Now here I need to format this horizontal axis. So we click on that, select data. Okay, now sales estimate is for each year and not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You get this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 10 when Excel fails to recognize what is the heading or the basis for each set of data. So we need to manually map it up. So here each of these data points represents each of these years, and here we have this. Again, sales estimate, we did this. Last time it picked up for sales actuals as well, but this time it didn't. So let's click on edit again, select it, OK, and OK again. Well, this makes a lot of sense. And this is a form of combo chart, and that's where we are heading to. First, in our session for advanced charts, I would focus on combo charts. Now, a combo chart is a combination of multiple visual graphs over here. So, for example, we have a column chart here, while at the same time, we also see a line chart here. So we have two charts so here we have two types of charts. Now, these are ideal choices when you want to compare two categories of each individual sub-item. That's each sales figure over here. We are comparing each of those. Now, they are commonly used to create any form of visual representation that can help you identify the difference between the targets as well as the actuals. And that's exactly where we see. The gray indicates actuals. So in case if you do not want it this way, wherein the bar should be indicating the actuals and let the line indicate the estimates, you want to flip this. So all you need to do is click on change chart type. Here we have for customization of combo charts, that's under combo, and the last one. By default, the first one is where we were, customization. Now, sales estimates, I want it in a form of a line chart, and sales actuals, I want it in a form of column chart. Now, this looks better. So we have the gray ones, which are actuals, and the orange one was an estimate. So wherever we see the gray area moving beyond the gray bar, beyond the orange bar or the line, we can say those were the years when we exceeded our estimates. Now let us proceed further with another set of data. Now this is the way how you can play with data. With just one set of table, we can have different versions of charts, while at the same time I cannot have a pie chart over here, because a pie chart would be something like highlighting every component that builds up to a macro figure. Here we are already working at macro figures. right? So let's say here we had data for 2020 and the sales actuals were 555, that is 555. In case we had data for each month or each quarter, then probably only for the year 2020, I would have had a pie chart with a breakup for each month or quarter. But again, we need to maintain uniformity there. Either it could be quarterly data or it could be monthly data or weekly data. But you cannot have a mix of quarter and month over there. Now let us move on and try with some more data and get some different versions of combo charts created here. Now let us explore the next data set over here for a combo chart. Now this time we have sales. Now these were the actual sales that we had taken from the data set 1. And further, we also have the volumes of sales. Now I would like to have a single chart that can help me show both the values. So first, let us try this out. I select this table, go to Insert, and let's first check out how the column chart will look like. Here it is. Now, carefully note this, observe this. Here we have the year, which anyway we will get rid of. Now we have two columns over here, or two set of bars. One is sales in $1 million and the other one is volumes. Now here, these are proper numbers over here, and these are rounded up in millions. These are actuals. There is a grave mismatch over here because these numbers, we are not able to identify whether these are unit volumes or are these values in $1 million. That's a lot of confusion there. But I would like to see both these data reflecting in one single chart instead of having two charts separately. So best idea would be, let me clear this out first. So we select the entire table, go to Insert and select the combo chart. And if we select this chart, this is how the output will look like. Let's click here. I need to remove the years. And well, does this make sense? We are still with the same problem here. It could be best fixed if we have one axis for the sales value in terms of millions of dollars and another axis which shows the sales volume. That's in thousands here. So I go to change chart type. If I need something on the right side, that's a secondary axis. So I need the sales volume as a line, or maybe I need a sales volume as a column chart and sales in $1 million as a line. And I want this sales appearing as a secondary chart, secondary axis. So here we have this. Well, in case if you don't want it this way, you can try the other way around. You can have this as a secondary line and still it does the job. Let's click here. So the bars here represent the volume of sales and the line represents the sales in $1 million. Now, in case if you need the axis labels over here, because we can't still make a difference which one belongs to which axis. So we click here. I want axis titles here. So we have some space for axis titles. First thing here, this is sales in dollar million. Close the bracket. Next, here we have sales, sale volume. Now here it should be years, so YEAR, but we don't see the year numbers over here. Rather, we see this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 again. So let's go to select data. We have this, edit, select the years. Okay. Now, is it reflecting for sale volume? No. Let's do that, edit again and select these years. Click OK and OK again. And now this table looks perfect. Well, I can get rid of the chart title for now so that I can get more space. And now it makes a lot of sense. Now, do you need data labels over here? If I click on this, it's quite congested. It's really difficult to read. So I would prefer not to have this. And instead, I can just move my mouse across different points and I still get this. Well, in case if I want to make some changes over here, I can come here, click on Format. I can change the way how this line will be. For example, I do not want this in orange, but I want this in green. So I take this green, and here we have a good line over here in green. Now, if I want to change the color for these bars, first, when I click on the bar, any one bar, all the bars are selected. Now, if I click on any of the bar again, it's only that one bar which is selected. So let's say I want to select the last bar and I want to have this in this color format, indicating that this is the most recent data that I have, and these are all the historical data. Wow, now that looks quite decent and professional here. Maybe green line would be quite bright, so I might make it as something like a dark blue and still make it look amazing. Now that's looking professional here. So now let us work on this set of data, and let me show you another way how we can have, or we can make the best use of these combo charts. First, we have this data over here. Now this time we have the same sales figures, but now they are with the expenses, and we have some profits over here, and the formula pretty straightforward here, that sales minus expenses. Now, based on this, I would like to have a graph, a combination graph, and that should be based on sales and profits. I don't want to bother with the expenses as of now. So I can select this set of data, hold down the control key. After I select sales, I'll hold down the control key, and I have the profits here. Click on insert, and let's say first we'll have a bar graph and see how it shows up. Well, that's now quite interesting. Here we see the sales and the profits, and this is below 0, indicating negative profits here, and gradually it climbs up. It would really be awesome if I can have a profit margin visible over here. For that, let us have the profit margin. So we say profit margin. Let us expand this column. And what is profit margin? The profit divided by sales. We don't need to multiply it with 100. Okay, Excel is smart enough to understand what it is. If you don't find your number in a percentage format after doing the division, you can just click on the cell and click on this percentage over here. And you can add or reduce the decimals accordingly. Now I have the formula over here, and I'll cascade it all the way to the right. And we have a good profit margin here. Now let's bring this profit margin onto this graph. So I click on this graph, chart design, select data. Now we have the sales, we have profits. Let me add. And here the series name, I can manually type it, or I can just click on the cell which has the heading. That's the series name. Now series values, I need to first clear this off and select the values. Click OK. Now if you notice one thing here at the bottom, we are still with the labels as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Incorrect. Those should be the years. We did not select it earlier, and hence we see these. So you can click on any of these first, click on Edit for horizontal axis, select the years. Click OK, and let's see. Here it cascades for the rest as well. Good. Now if we click on OK, well, we don't see our profit margins here. That's because we have these margins in the form of percentage, and those are very small amount. So technically, this axis over here, neither of these two axes can help us get the percentage visible or this line visible. So here again, we will make use of the combo chart. I click on combo. Here we have this 2-axis. And here we go. Profit margin, that's the line here. Line chart. And with a secondary axis. Let's click on this. And here we have this. Well, in case if I find the decimals quite congested over here, so then I might just right click on this, and click on Format Axis. Now let us click here. Okay, here we can also try to reduce this by bounds. So we'll scroll down and we have number format here, the number, decimal places. Either I can give 0 or 1, that's absolutely fine. For now I'll give 0. Okay, and here it is. So I can get rid of the chart title. Good. And now this chart looks amazing here. But one more thing, here we have this year somewhere stuck in the middle of this visual representation of this entire graph. I would like to see these years coming down over here. You see there are some negative values and these years are actually stuck to the 0th line. So let's go again. I right click, Format Chart Area. So here we click on Horizontal Category Axis, and here we click on this axis option. We have labels and label position. Next to axis, high, low. If I select high, you will see the numbers at the top. If I select low, we have it at the bottom of the chart. And now I click aside, and here we have this chart. So you can see both the axes that have negative values. Okay. So now we are using the first axis over here, which is for the profits as well as for the sales. So the orange bars are representing the profits. And what about the profit margin? Well, during this phase, whenever you see the orange bars below the line 0, that means the profit margin is negative. And that's what we can see all the way till here. But the moment it touches it, so in 2014 onwards, you can see that the profit margin is positive, right? And this is where the 0th line is for the profit margin. Well, this is one great use of combo chart. Let me take it one notch up over here and we'll create one more chart, which might look complex, but still interesting. So I can select this entire set of data over here and click on Insert, Combo Chart. Well, I can do this. First, I can get rid of unwanted columns. So we have 2011, 12, 13, 14, 15, everything reflecting over here properly. We have the blue bar representing sales, orange for expenses, profit, and profit margin. Well, I don't want to see the sales this time. I want to do an expense to profit analysis here. So I click on the sales, any of the sales bar, and press delete on the keyboard. And here we have expenses, profit, and profit margin. Now I don't want to see this in this format. Rather, I'll just change the chart type. And for expenses, I'll make it look like a stacked column chart. And what would it be stacked against? It will be stacked against the profits. And here we have this. The profit margin will be represented by the secondary axis. Click OK. And here we have this. Let me remove the chart title and see. Now here you need to understand, okay, here you will notice that the orange bar is all about expenses and gray bar is about profits. So for the first two, or in fact the first 3 years, if you zoom in, we can see that for the first 3 years, it's negative profits. That means we do not have enough money. Okay, that means we are spending more than what we are earning, and hence these profits are negative here. But the moment we start from the 4th year, we are in profits. And in fact, the total of these two bars, that's the orange and the gray bar together, makes up to the total sales value. So in a way, we get an idea of what the sales are. Approximately, for example, for 2020, the sales is somewhere between 500 and 600, of which 400 and maybe 10 or 20 approximately is for expenses, and the rest goes towards the profits. And I also have another line over here which is indicating the profit margin. So my profit margins have been the highest in this year, that's 2020. And in 2019, I was somewhere close enough, and same way with 2018. But my profit margins were negative, and also the profits were negative during the initial 3 years. Well, now this also looks professional and quite good, right? Nice way to have an amazing impact on your audience. Well, that's it about the combo charts over here. And well, the options are immense. You can do whatever you want to. You can try different ones. You have the area chart. If I click on this, chart design, change chart type, we have different versions over here. You can have an area chart as well. Pie chart may not make sense here. Okay, for example, let's say area chart. You see this? These are all the expenses. But we need to understand that not every area chart will help everywhere. It's very rare that we see area charts, and those are very specific to certain scenarios. An ideal will be a common clustered column or a stacked column chart, which just worked out for us.